Good evening. This video is in response to several other videos, one by Steve and one by Brad, where all three of us have the GTN MFD in the aircraft we're flying. Brad and I have the Eclipse, Steve has the Panthera, but they all come with this GTN 750, I think it's called, which is the MFD. And a couple of questions have come up since I purchased this aircraft. There have been a couple of questions I've had, and there was some discussion with a video from Steve and Brad. Anyway, let's start with the top. This is the slip indicator. This is the in general aviation aircraft we would have a ball for coordinated turn. If you wanted to turn left and you did not coordinate the turn with the rudder pedals, this ball will come out of between these two lines, indicating that you're in a slip or a skid. So that's what this is. The other icon that was showing up was from TCAS, and if there are aircraft within a reasonable distance of your aircraft, they would show up as another icon. Okay, the thing that I was confused about was how do I adjust the course indicator if I was wanting to fly a localizer, coming down a localizer at a 137 heading. How do I get this arrow to be coordinated so I can have the localizer in the heading in a coordinated fashion? I discovered was that these two knobs on each side of the panel control these options: the arrow changing the barometer to minimum descent altitude, course selection, heading selection, altimeter or altitude, vertical speed, indicated airspeed, and dim. I do not know what dim means. I've gone through the manuals. I did a document search looking for what dim is. It finds dim in the documents, in the manuals, but it does not explain what that is. So hopefully one of you two will know what that means. Anyway, so if I want to change my course indicator, so let's say I was going to come to fly a localizer that has a 150 heading, I would get my, once I've got my knob selected, if I move my cursor up, move my mouse up, I get an up arrow so I can move up or down to one of these selections, one of these options, just like this. So now I've got it set on course, and if I want to move my course indicator to 150, I just click on it until I get on 150. You notice it also tells me that the course is 150 on this indicator. And also, inside the course indicator is a secondary line. You can see it, it's kind of an overlay or an underlay, depending on what term you want to use. This is the localizer bar itself. So if I was on localizer, coming down the localizer for the ILS or localizer approach, this line would be centered with the course indicator because I preset the course for 150. If I move off to the side, left or right of the localizer, this center bar will slide left or right depending on if I'm off course or not. Yes, this bar here is for the glide slope. Also, the next thing was if I was going to use the autopilot in heading mode as opposed to flying from one waypoint to another, I could do that. But first I have to change my heading bug. This is the heading bug if I want to fly a specific heading. And again, I press the knob. I go, in this case I want to go down to the heading option, and now if I move press the right arrow, press my left mouse button down, and I want to fly a 240 heading, I move it down until I get this heading bug to 240. If I were to then select the autopilot heading mode as opposed to navigation mode, I would fly this heading, a 240 heading. So hopefully that clears things up on some of these controls, and we'll hopefully talk to you soon.